Team Topologies, Organizing Business and Technology Teams for Fast Flow by Skelton and Manuel Pais. Picture this. You're working on a group project, and it's a total disaster. Everyone's smart. Everyone knows their stuff. But somehow, nothing's moving. You're waiting on Jake to finish his part. Maria's work doesn't connect with yours. Every tiny change breaks something for someone else. It's like trying to run through quicksand. Now scale that nightmare up, way up. Imagine a company with thousands of brilliant people, unlimited resources, and cutting-edge technology. And yet, they can't push out a simple update without drowning in meetings, waiting for approvals, and navigating office politics. The whole place is basically fighting itself. This isn't a rare horror story. It's happening right now in companies everywhere, and for decades, leaders have thrown everything at the problem. They redraw the org chart, they hire expensive consultants, they chase whatever management fad is trending on LinkedIn. And most of the time, absolutely nothing changes. The frustration stays. The crawl continues. Here's a wild thought, though. What if it's not the people who are broken? What if the technology is fine? What if there's this invisible force, hiding in plain sight, that controls everything? In 2019, two consultants named Skelton and Manuel Pais wrote a book that exposed this hidden force. It wasn't some flashy, gimmicky business book. It was clear, profound, and actually useful. They called it Team Topologies. And while it didn't become a bestseller at airport bookstores, it became gospel in the world of tech and business design. It named problems everyone felt but couldn't articulate. Better yet, it offered a solution that actually made sense. Skelton and Pais had spent years inside companies of all sizes, from scrappy startups to massive corporations. They kept seeing the same dysfunction patterns repeat. But they also saw what worked. And they realized something crucial. The best-performing organizations weren't just better at coding or strategy, they were better at organizing their people. They'd figured out a blueprint for structuring teams to build complex things without descending into chaos. This book is that blueprint, and I'm about to walk you through it. By the end, you'll understand the one organizational law that once you see it, will change how you see every company forever. You'll learn about the 4 types of teams you need to build anything great. Just 4. And you'll discover the 3 simple ways those teams should communicate to create effortless, fast flow. This isn't just for future executives. It's for anyone who's ever had to work with other humans to solve hard problems. Let's talk about something you've seen 1,000 times, the org chart. That tidy pyramid with boxes and lines. CEO at the top, managers in the middle, everyone else at the bottom. We're taught this is how companies work. Information goes up, decisions come down. Nice and neat. According to Skelton and Pais, it's complete fiction. In reality, nobody works like that. When you need help, do you file a formal request up the chain and wait for it to bounce back down? Of course not. You message David, who knows about this stuff, or grab coffee with Sarah from the other department. You just get it done. The real communication in any organization is a chaotic, tangled web that completely ignores that neat chart. For years, managers saw this as a bug to be fixed. But Skelton and Pais say it's actually revealing a profound truth. The real structure isn't the chart on the wall. It's the web of actual conversations happening every day. This leads us to the most important idea in the entire book. It comes from a computer scientist named Mel Conway, who figured this out way back in 1968. It's called Conway's Law. Here it is. Any organization that designs a system will inevitably produce a design whose structure mirrors the organization's communication structure. Read that again. Let it sink in. What it means is that whatever you build will look like how your teams are organized and how they talk to each other. If 4 separate teams build software, you'll get software with 4 distinct clunky modules. If everyone has to go through a separate database team to make changes, you'll end up with a massive, slow database that bottlenecks everything. If your teams are stuck in silos, a front-end team, a back-end team, a testing team, you'll create a system where work gets endlessly handed off from one silo to the next, grinding everything to a halt. The software doesn't match the beautiful architecture diagram, it matches the org chart. The communication patterns get baked right into the product itself. For decades, companies have been fighting this law. They design beautiful, integrated systems, then act shocked when their disconnected teams produce disconnected products. They're pushing against gravity. The authors say stop fighting it, use it. This is the earth-shattering insight of team topologies. They call it the reverse Conway maneuver. Instead of letting your org chart dictate your product, flip it around. First, decide what you want your product to look like. Do you want a system made of small, independent services that can be updated quickly? Then you need to design your teams to be small, independent, and able to work without constantly coordinating with everyone else. You shape the organization to get the architecture you want. You use Conway's law as a tool, not an obstacle. That's the secret. Everything else in the book is about making it work. So if we're designing our organization intentionally, where do we start? We start with the team. The authors are crystal clear here. The fundamental unit isn't the individual, it's the team. Modern software is too complex for one person to hold in their head. You need a cohesive unit, people who trust each other and work like a single organism. But not just any team. The book references anthropologist Robin Dunbar, who discovered humans have a cognitive limit on stable relationships. You can only deeply know and trust a small number of people. That's why effective teams are small. Amazon famously uses the 2-pizza rule. Never have a team you can't feed with 2 pizzas. Usually that means 5 to 9 people. When teams get too big, trust breaks down. Communication becomes a burden. The team stops being an organism and becomes just a group of individuals. So, rule number 1, build your organization from small, long-lived teams. Don't create a team for a 6-month project and then disband it. That's wasteful. Teams take time to gel, to learn how to work together. Once you have a high-performing team, you keep it together and flow the work to them. But here's the next critical piece. You can't just give a small team a massive, complex piece of the system. This brings us to maybe the most human concept in the book, cognitive load. Cognitive load is the total mental effort you're using. We all have a limit. When you try to learn too much at once, or juggle too many tasks, you get overwhelmed. Your brain just can't handle it. Performance drops. You make mistakes. Teams have the same limit, a finite, collective cognitive load. The authors explain 3 types. First, intrinsic load, the core knowledge you need for the job. If you're a programmer, it's knowing the programming language. Second, extraneous load, the frustrating, unnecessary stuff, like figuring out how to deploy software or wrestling with confusing tools. It's the mental tax you pay just to reach the real work. Finally, germane load, the good stuff, the deep thinking about the actual problem you're solving for customers. This is where innovation happens. For years, organizations have accidentally buried their teams in extraneous load. They expect one team to be experts in coding, testing, security, databases, cloud infrastructure, monitoring, everything. The team spends so much mental energy just managing the environment that there's no space left for the work that actually matters. The entire Team Topologies framework is a machine for managing cognitive load. It's designed to minimize extraneous load so teams can focus their brain power on delivering value. How? By proposing that any modern organization needs exactly 4 fundamental types of teams. Not 5, not 10, just 4. Each has a clear purpose designed to reduce cognitive load for the others. The first, and most important, is the stream-aligned team. Think of a stream as continuous work that delivers value to customers. It could be a specific product, like a mobile banking app, or a user journey, like signing up for an account. A stream-aligned team is fully aligned to one stream. This is your primary team type. Most of your teams should be stream-aligned. They're the engine of value delivery. They're cross-functional groups with all the skills needed: product, design, coding, testing, operations, to build, release, and manage their piece of the world with maximum autonomy. They own their stream end-to-end. Their mission is clear: make that stream flow as smoothly and quickly as possible. But stream-aligned teams can't do everything. If they had to build cloud infrastructure from scratch or become machine learning experts overnight, their cognitive load would explode. They'd grind to a halt. That's why we need the other three team types. Their entire purpose is supporting stream-aligned teams. The second team type is the platform team. Platform teams build and maintain the foundation that stream-aligned teams build upon. This isn't just technical infrastructure like servers. It's a set of tools, APIs, and services, so easy to use, they feel like a compelling internal product. The platform team takes on complex, extraneous load, like provisioning test environments or setting up monitoring, and turns it into simple self-service capabilities. Instead of a stream-aligned team spending weeks figuring out deployment, they just use the platform's deployment service, which handles all the complexity. The platform team's goal is reducing cognitive load for stream-aligned teams so they can move faster. They build the smooth, paved road so the race cars can go at top speed. The third team type is the complicated subsystem team. Use this sparingly. Sometimes part of your system is incredibly complex and requires deep, specialized knowledge. Think face recognition algorithms, real-time trading engines, or video processing codecs. It's not realistic to expect every stream-aligned team to master this domain. In these rare cases, create a dedicated, complicated subsystem team. These specialists build and maintain that complex part. Their job is wrapping that complexity in a simple, easy-to-use package that other teams can consume without understanding the intricate details. Again, they're absorbing cognitive load from other teams. Finally, the fourth team type is the enabling team. Think of enabling teams as expert coaches. They're specialists in particular domains, like test automation, security, or new programming techniques. Their job isn't doing work for other teams. It's helping other teams gain missing capabilities. An enabling team works alongside a stream-aligned team temporarily, helping them learn new skills. They might help set up automated testing or teach security best practices. And then, crucially, they leave. Their goal is making the other team self-sufficient. They're temporary facilitators, not permanent dependencies. They're leveling up the entire organization, one team at a time. That's it. Stream-aligned, platform, complicated subsystem, and enabling. The authors argue every team should fit into one of these four. By simplifying to just four types, everyone knows their purpose. Gray areas of ownership disappear. Teams aren't pulled in 100 directions. But having the right types is only half the battle. How should they interact? If everyone constantly talks to everyone, you have chaos. If no one talks, you have silos. The book introduces another elegant simplification. There are only 3 essential interaction modes between teams. The first is collaboration. 2 teams work very closely together for a defined period. They have a shared goal, and boundaries blur. This mode is perfect for discovery and innovation. For example, when a stream-aligned team works with a platform team to figure out new technology, they collaborate. It's high touch, high communication. It's also expensive in cognitive load terms, because both teams need to learn about each other's domains, so you use it purposefully for rapid learning and for limited time. The second interaction mode is X as a service. This is collaboration's opposite. One team provides something as a service, the other consumes it. Think about a stream-aligned team using the platform's deployment service. They don't need close collaboration. They just need a clear menu of services, a well-defined API, and good documentation. The consuming team gets predictable service, and the providing team focuses on making it reliable and easy to use. This mode is optimized for speed and efficiency, not discovery. It requires minimal communication. The third interaction mode is facilitating. This is the primary mode for enabling teams. One team helps another learn or clear impediments. The interaction is coaching and guidance. The facilitating team's goal is making the other team better, then stepping away. By defining just these three modes, you remove all ambiguity. When two teams work together, they can ask, "What mode are we in? Are we collaborating to discover something new? Is one providing a service to the other, or is one facilitating the other's learning?" This clarity is transformative. It sets clear expectations. It helps teams choose right behaviors. And most powerfully, it turns friction into a valuable signal. This brings us to the final beautiful piece, the organization as a living, sensing system. The authors argue organizational design shouldn't be static. It shouldn't be something you set once every few years during a painful reorganization. It should constantly evolve. Team topologies and interaction modes aren't a fixed state. They're a toolkit for evolution. For example, when new technology emerges, a platform team and stream-aligned team might enter collaboration mode to explore it. They work together, learn quickly, figure out the best approach. Once they've built a stable, easy-to-use service around that technology, their interaction mode shifts. The platform team now provides that technology as a service to all stream-aligned teams. The initial, expensive collaboration has been productized into a service that accelerates the entire organization. The interaction mode changed to fit the work phase. From discovery to predictable execution. This is a dynamic, adaptive model, but how do you know when to change? You listen to the signals. Friction becomes your guide. If a stream-aligned team is consuming something as a service from a platform team but constantly needs help, sending messages, holding meetings, that's a signal. It tells you the service isn't good enough. It's not easy to use. The API is confusing or documentation is poor. The awkward interaction signals that the boundary is wrong or the service is failing. It triggers the platform team to improve their offering. If an enabling team is facilitating another team, but after 3 months that team is still completely dependent, that's a signal. The facilitation isn't working. The team isn't learning. Maybe the topic is too complex, or that capability should be part of the platform instead. This is organizational sensing. By having a clear, simple model of how teams should be structured and interact, you immediately spot when reality doesn't match. And that deviation isn't failure. It's high-quality information. It's the organization telling you where it needs to adapt. It allows the system to be self-steering. It can sense changes in its environment, new technologies, new market demands, new problems, and fluidly reshape itself to meet challenges, all without needing top-down disruptive reorganization. It's about creating an organization designed for adaptability, designed to learn. When you step back and look at what Skelton and Pais have created, you realize this is so much more than a book about software teams. It's a deeply humanistic approach to building things in a complex world. For too long, business has been dominated by a mechanistic view. People are resources. Teams are interchangeable cogs. The goal is designing the perfect machine, winding it up, and watching it execute. But that's not how life works. People aren't cogs. They get overwhelmed, frustrated. They need purpose and autonomy. Team Topologies puts the human element back at the center. The entire framework respects the team as a social unit and the cognitive limits of people within it. Designing your entire organization around minimizing cognitive load is revolutionary. It acknowledges the goal isn't making people work harder. It's creating an environment where they can work smarter, where their mental energy focuses on what truly matters. What I find most powerful is its elegant simplicity. In a world drowning in complex frameworks and jargon, the authors give us a beautifully simple toolkit: 4 team types, 3 interaction modes. That's it. But from these simple building blocks, you can construct an organization that's both incredibly resilient and highly adaptable. It provides clarity without rigidity. It provides structure while enabling flow. For anyone starting their career or just thinking about working with others, these lessons are invaluable. The book teaches you to look beneath the surface. Don't just look at formal roles and titles. Look at communication paths. Who's talking to whom? Where are the handoffs? Where's the friction? Because that's where the real organization lives. The practical actions you can take are surprisingly simple but profound. First, always start by thinking about the team. If you're starting a new project, don't just assign tasks to individuals. Form a small, dedicated team. Give them a clear mission and autonomy to achieve it. Protect them from distractions and unnecessary cognitive load. Second, be intentional about communication. Before you start work, decide how you'll interact. Is this a discovery phase needing close collaboration? Or can one person provide a clear service to others? Defining engagement rules up front prevents so much confusion and frustration later. Third, treat friction as a gift. When things feel difficult or awkward, don't just push through. Ask why. That awkwardness is a signal. It's telling you a boundary is wrong, a process is broken, or a tool isn't good enough. It's an opportunity to learn and improve the system itself. This book provides a language and mental model for designing better ways of working together. It's a blueprint for creating organizations that are not just more effective, but also more humane. That was a deep dive into the core ideas of Team Topologies by Skelton and Manuel Pais. We've explored the invisible force of Conway's Law, the 4 fundamental teams, and the 3 interaction modes that can transform an organization. But a summary, no matter how detailed, is like looking at a map of a beautiful city. It shows you the layout, but it can't convey the feeling of walking the streets yourself. The real power is in the details, the case studies, and the subtle wisdom woven into every page. This summary is your map, designed to help you decide if this journey is worth taking. If the idea of building smarter, faster, and more humane teams resonates with you, I wholeheartedly encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning a new framework, it's about fundamentally changing how you see organizations and your place within them. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this exploration valuable and it sparked new ideas, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. It tells us we're on the right track, and it ensures you won't miss our next journey into another life-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's keep learning and growing together.